When a primary server rack short circuits, the damage is instantaneous. In a heartbeat, transactions freeze, databases lock, and thousands of hours of work simply vanish as the hardware cascades into darkness. At the center of these failures is a classic engineering contradiction. We need systems that are increasingly fast and complex, but also perfectly stable. Navigating that trade-off requires a methodology called TRIZ, a structural discipline used to solve these contradictions through repeatable architectural patterns. Surviving a total system blackout requires more than just a quick recovery plan. To see how we build that resilience from the ground up, subscribe and ring the bell to join the Idea Mechanics team as we master systematic discovery. Most IT management still relies on what we call the old way. It's a trial and error mindset where we wait for a drive to fail or a connection to drop, and only then do we start frantically patching the system to bring it back online.
Relying on reactive patching means your recovery plan only starts after the damage is done. In a high-speed digital era, waiting for a disruption to occur before you plan for it leaves your most critical assets exposed. TRIZ Principle 11 is beforehand cushioning. It moves us away from reactive problem-solving towards a permanent state of preparedness. We anticipate the failure and incorporate a buffer, a cushion, that expands just in time to absorb the impact of an unexpected event. This isn't just about convenience. In a hospital or a global financial hub, even a few seconds of power loss can compromise patient safety or trigger millions in losses. We build the first layer of this cushion with uninterrupted power supplies and battery backups. These units act as a physical failsafe, intercepting the failure of the primary power grid and providing a steady voltage to the hardware without a millisecond of interruption. We then extend this cushioning to the data itself. By using mirrored servers, the architecture creates simultaneous, identical redundancies, ensuring that a copy of every bit exists in two places at once. If a primary network connection drops, the system doesn't wait for a reboot. It switches to a failover connection that instantly maintains the flow, rerouting the data without dropping a single packet. This baseline redundancy removes the element of hope from the equation. Instead of hoping the grid stays up, we engineer the system to handle the transition as an invisible, expected event when the hardware inevitably fails. But hardware cushions are often passive. They rely on a total failure to trigger. If a hard drive starts to degrade slowly between scheduled backups, you could still lose hours of critical data before the system realizes there's a problem. To solve this, we move to intelligent anticipation. We monitor the health of the data in real time, tracking variables like operating temperature and the frequency of read-write errors. By integrating machine learning, the system identifies anomalies that a human administrator would never spot. It sees a subtle rise in heat and a microscopic delay in data access as the signature of an impending crash, triggering an automated alert before the drive fails. The system then executes a preemptive backup protocol. It clones every active data block and routes it through a secure tunnel into an isolated vault, effectively evacuating the vulnerable node before the hardware reaches its breaking point. This integration of predictive software ensures the architecture is always one step ahead. It identifies the worst-case scenario while it's still just a pattern in the data and neutralizes it before the crash ever occurs. We have evolved from frantically reacting to crashes to building ecosystems that proactively absorb and neutralize threats. Digital resilience isn't a byproduct of luck or a fast repair crew. It is the direct outcome of integrating redundancy and protective measures into the architecture from the very beginning. Look at the infrastructure you are running today. Where is your single point of failure? What is the one server or connection that would cause the most damage if it disappeared right now? That is where you apply Principle 11. Your challenge today is to build a cushion for that specific vulnerability before the next crisis hits. Share your strategy in the comments, and let's start engineering your system's resilience.